Our next presenter is going to have two roles. One, he'll be offering some ideas and vision for how we make Pennsylvania great again, and then we'll lead a discussion with some policymakers on opportunities missed by a governor who claims to get stuff done, but mostly he gets selfies done and TikToks. So we're going to have a discussion on policies here in Pennsylvania. And to kick things off, first, we're going to bring to the stage Andrew Lewis. Andrew is the CEO of the Commonwealth Foundation, one of the sponsors who make this conference possible. Many of you know Andrew because he had served in the Pennsylvania State House, where during his tenure he accomplished many things and was the prime sponsor of school choice legislation. Like many of our elected officials, we're proud of him not only for his work in the State House, but because he had worked in the private sector. A theme here with many of our folks. They know what it's like to have to pay bills, meet the payroll, deal with regulations. When they talk about onerous taxes and regulations, it's not just a stump speech. It's because they live in the real world that we live in. So Andrew has been a legislator, has worked in the private sector. He is a veteran serving in our United States Army. He is a husband, a dad, and the current CEO of the Commonwealth Foundation, committed to transforming free market ideas into public policies to empower all Pennsylvanians, and one of my many bosses. Andrew Lewis, ladies and gentlemen.
If you're a Pennsylvanian, you live in the birthplace of freedom. The ideas that built America were forged here, where ordinary men defied the odds so a nation could be born, and where Lincoln boldly said, "Government must always be of, by, and for the people." If you're a Pennsylvanian, you live in the birthplace of industries, where oil drilling powered an industrial revolution and steel shaped America's skyline, growing the food on America's table and pushing forward technology, leading the future. But today, Pennsylvania stands at a crossroads. Will it become a beacon of freedom yet again? Or will government expand its control? That's why Commonwealth Foundation is transforming ideas into action, fighting for free market principles so that everyone can thrive. Because if you're a Pennsylvanian, you don't wait for change. You build it. When we transform Pennsylvania, we will save America.
Good to see you all. Good to see you all. You know, I got to tell you, I've been coming to Pennsylvania Leadership Conference for 10 years now, and you guys are the best. I mean, you come here year after year, you're volunteering on campaigns, you're volunteering as grassroots. You come here and you sit through sessions. Some of them are super interesting, some of them are not. But you're here anyway. I see the Lucas family, hey, Jim, Everett. I see a lot of good friends in the audience. Commonwealth Foundation team is here. Make some noise. All right, there we go. And we've got some legislators here as well. Where's our legislators in the audience? We got a couple of them. All right, they're back there. They're doing good work, making Pennsylvania more free. So I was reflecting recently, and you saw in the video here a scene from Hershey Park, and I was thinking about an experience I had with my son Jeff about 4 or 5 years ago at Hershey Park. Now, many of you know me. You've known me for years. Some of you out in the crowd. Some of you are new. For those of you, you're going to learn. A little goofy, but you know I came from construction. You know I was in the military. You know I served in the House for a couple years. You know that I serve at Commonwealth Foundation. But what none of you know, and you got to keep it a secret, is that I'm afraid of heights, okay? I know. I am terrified of heights. Like right now, I'm like terrified. This stage is my limit. It's my total limit. And the most daring thing I think I've ever done is like a diving board in a pool. That's my cap. So a couple years ago, my son Jeff, when he turned 11, he said, "Dad, I want to go to Hershey Park for my birthday. I want to go do all the rides. We're going to do all the high, crazy rides." I don't do rides. I don't do Hershey Park. I don't do roller coasters. I hate heights. Why would you pay to be terrified? Why would you pay money to wait in line and get a wristband and sweat through the heat only to be absolutely terrified and to risk your life. No, right? I'm not doing it. But because I'm a father, because I love my children, I said, all right, Jeff, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. I figured I'm gonna grit my way through this thing. We're gonna do it. So it was just me and him, his father-son trip. We get up in the morning, we go to Hershey Park, and we get the wristbands. And keep in mind, I'm like, I don't want to do this at all. I don't want to do any of these rides. I don't want to do the Comet. I don't want to even do the wooden one from 1948. I don't want to do any of these roller coasters. But we get there, we get the wristbands, and I'm like, I'm going to do it for my son. And we're traipsing through Hershey, and we see these rides called the Hershey Triple Tower. Has anyone ever ridden the Hershey Triple Tower? Just so you're aware, there's 3 towers, and the highest one is 189 feet. That's like a 15 to 19-story building. When you get up at the top of the tower, you can see all of Pennsylvania before you. You can see like Mechanicsburg, you can see State College. I mean, you're up there. You are high up. And I was like, Jeff's like, I want to do the Hershey Triple Tower as our first ride of the day. And I was like, which one do you want to do, son? Do you want to do the short one? And he's like, no, I want to do the highest one. So I was like, all right, well, this sucks, okay? So we get up, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna do it. I love my son. He's turning 11. We're gonna push through. We're gonna do the Hershey Triple Tower. And so we get on, we strap in. They strap you with these tiny little seat belts, right? And your feet are on a platform, and you're in this seat, and your back's to where they're gonna eject you up from, and you strap in, and when they hit go on the ride, they catapult you at the speed of sound all the way up to the top of this thing, 189 feet up. So you are catapulted up. We're flying up through the air, we're flying up through the air. All of a sudden, they stop you, and you're stopped. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like the ride up, and all of a sudden, they shoot you right back. So they drop you, but they don't let you drop at the speed of gravity. They put a lot of energy behind it, and they shoot you down as fast as possible. So you're going like 150 miles an hour down. But here's the thing, they don't send you all the way down. They send you halfway down. So now you're halfway down, and you're suspended in midair, and you can see all of Pennsylvania below you. You're scared of heights. And I thought, I'm gonna pretend like I'm having fun so that Jeff isn't as scared. Because I'm like, surely he's terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. I'm like, but I'm gonna pretend like I'm having fun. So I'm like, yeah, this is so fun. And I'm looking over at him. I'm absolutely terrified. I hate every second of this. Then it shoots you back up. So this just keeps going. You're up, you're down, you're terrified, you're uncertain, you don't know what's going on. You don't know if you're gonna go up isn't so bad, but then when they shoot you back down, that's where it's really awful. And so I'm getting shot up and down, and this thing goes on for what feels like an hour and a half. Like it just keeps going. Finally, the ride ends, and it killed it. The day was killed. We were like, this was horrible. We didn't want to do the Comet. We didn't want to do the roller coasters. We went on a couple like kids stuff after that, and we went home. We have not been back to Hershey Park since. But what I'll tell you is I was reflecting on this a couple days ago, and I was like, you know what? That feeling of uncertainty and terror, and like, you don't know if you're going up, you don't know if you're going down, that's exactly what it's like to live in Pennsylvania with Josh Shapiro as governor. Because think about it. Every time we think we're going up, right? We got this opportunity. The legislature passes Lifeline scholarships. We're going to send all these kids to rescue them from failing school. So we're going up. We're excited. All of a sudden, here comes Josh Shapiro with the line on a veto. Bam! Stops you, drives you back down. And then we have the energy potential. We have these investors that want to come into the state. They're excited. They want to come in, and our electricity bills are going to be low. We're going to get through the winter in Pennsylvania. So we're going up, up, up. And all of a sudden, here comes Josh Shapiro with the carbon tax and green energy plan and all this stuff. Bam! Stops us in our tracks and drives us back down. Every single time we save up the rainy day fund because we're like, hey, we're going to fortify the state. We're going to make sure we can get through a rainy day. Here comes Josh Shapiro with the deficit budget. And how's he going to pay for it? He's going to raid the rainy day fund to pay for the deficit spending. Boom, right back down to where we started. So that feeling of terror and uncertainty and going up and going down is exactly what it feels like in Pennsylvania under Josh Shapiro. And it's not good, right? It's not good. And I would say that when you look out across the country right now, whenever leftists take over, they go quick. They enact their policies really fast. Look at Virginia. Virginia, 6 months ago, was a pretty awesome state. They have taken over. The leftists have a trifecta. They've gotten the carbon tax that we came out of. They've gotten back into it. They've advanced gun control legislation. They're advancing all kinds of legislation that's going to hurt the state. That state is plummeting into the abyss. When you look at what is happening in states like Minnesota with the welfare fraud, the $9 billion in welfare fraud, it's abysmal. When you look at Massachusetts, where they enacted what's called, it's a wealth tax, but basically, when you get to a certain level of income, you finally made it, every dollar after that, they've almost doubled their taxes. So like we're raised in a country where we teach our kids, work hard, get ahead, and there's these leftist states who then take that, and as soon as they get ahead, they're gonna punish them for it. When you look at California, where they've effectively outlawed internal combustion engines. They've basically outlawed gas-powered engines by saying, hey, by a certain date, we're gonna be completely green, and they've made it almost impossible to build and sell gas-powered cars by a certain date. It's abysmal what's happening when leftists take over. And here in Pennsylvania, we are at this like historic moment where over the next couple of years, we're either going to be Ohio or Florida or North Carolina or one of these great states who's got a lot of opportunity, Arizona, a lot of people moving in, or we're gonna go the other way and we're gonna end up being like a California or a Minnesota or an Illinois or God forbid a Maryland. I see the Maryland flag as one of the original 13 colonies. By the way, I refer to it as the People's Republic of Maryland. I was born there, so. But here's the problem is we're at this really, really pivotal point in Pennsylvania, but we're not gonna descend into the abyss. We're not, and here's why. Number one, all the people in this room, like you give yourselves a round of applause because you're in the trenches and you're committed and you're out there knocking doors and you're here. So that's number one. But number two, when you look at the people in the arena and the organizations in the arena, whether it's Americans for Prosperity or Commonwealth Foundation or AFPI or all these different organizations, plus all of the people that are volunteering and our great legislators who are doing great work, I will tell you over the past decade or so, there's been some really cool progress that not a lot of people talk about. So just when you look back over the last, let's say, couple decades, we've seen 11 tax hike attempts stopped in Pennsylvania, resulting in $33 billion of saved tax dollars for Pennsylvania. So we've seen that happen. Just last year, we got out of the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative tax hike, energy tax, saved us $1.6 billion a year for the Pennsylvania taxpayer in rate hikes. We're out of that. We're out. When you look at the EITC Tax Credit Scholarship Program, we now have 101,000 kids on those scholarships who have been rescued from failing Marxist, in some cases, schools that are now able to have an educational opportunity where they can have a bright future. It's incredible. Give a round of applause for the work that's actually happening and the difference that's being made in Pennsylvania. It's remarkable. So I am optimistic about the future. When you look at, so it's America 250. We are celebrating 250 years since our formation as a country, and you should be excited, just like the video talks about if you're a Pennsylvanian. How many of you are not from Pennsylvania? We got a couple guys, you gotta move. Move up to Pennsylvania, okay? All right. And how many of you are born and bred and from Pennsylvania? All right. Good. So in Pennsylvania, guys, we are the launch pad for the American story. So in Philadelphia, as you know, 1776, we were the launch pad for the country. Also, in 1787, the launch pad for the Constitutional Convention that created the world's greatest government in the history of the world. In Gettysburg, you could say arguably we're the launch pad for the turning point of the Civil War that reaffirmed our sacred oath that all men are created equal. Few people know this. We were the launch pad with the coal industry for the first industrial revolution. We came back, we launched the oil industry, we launched the second industrial revolution. Some people don't know this, but the great westward expansion that saw us go out and just expand our country, the Conestoga wagon was created in Lancaster County. We are at the hub of pretty much every part of the American story. And now when you look at what's happening now with tech innovation and all the things that are happening and the need for energy in the 21st century, Pennsylvania's shale can power the entire national grid, believe it or not, for generations. That's how much energy we have under our feet. So the potential of our state is so monumental. It's incredible. But what really strikes me as a reason to hope, because we've got a lot of threats out there. We're at a unique point in our history where, like I said, Pennsylvania is genuinely, we're gonna go one way or the other. We gotta go the right way. And what's gonna determine that is people getting involved, people actually getting involved and doing something about it. And what you're doing by being here, you're here. So you're starting out and you're actually stepping forward into the arena. It's the people in the arena that will make a difference, okay? So there's a number of ways to do it. You got to volunteer, get out there. These organizations are doing such great work. Help with organizations. There's a lot of tables out there you can sign up at. We even have a website, stopshapirotaxes.com. Go to that, write that down, get in there, and it'll tell you how you can help stop Shapiro's taxes. Those are the things that we need to do. We need to get involved and roll up our sleeves and get on deck and help to make sure that we become a state of opportunity and prosperity, and we don't become like these other states that have gone into the abyss. But I'll leave you with this. We have a panel, and we have Leader Topper is going to be here. Scott Martin's going to be here. Great legislators doing great things. But what gives me hope is when you look at the American story and you look at the whole genesis of the country, the real revolution of '76 wasn't necessarily the revolution that gave us independence. The revolution was this idea that an entire country was built for the first time, not for survivability, not for government control. It was built on this notion that, hey, we're going to unleash human potential by securing people's God-given freedom to pursue their God-given potential. That had never been done before. So there was never a country started just to protect human freedom until the United States of America was born 250 years ago. So what that did is it opened up this insane opportunity for so many people that would have been stuck in the world that they were born into. They would have been stuck with the trajectory that they came into the world with, but instead, they were able to unleash their potential. And when you combine individual freedom and free markets and all those things, a constitutionally limited government, we went from horse carts to spaceships in less than 200 years. I mean, it's unbelievable what happened because America was founded and created a form of government where people's rights were protected first and foremost. My favorite story, and at Commonwealth Foundation, we focus on a number of policy issues. We focus on government. We want government to be responsible and accountable. We want taxes to be low and spending to be low, balanced and responsible. We focus on energy issues and making sure that we defend and secure the free energy market. We look at education and making sure educational opportunities are advanced and expanded. But my favorite, and we focus heavily on education, and a lot of people wonder why. Why do you focus so heavily on educational opportunity and freedom? And I will tell you, because when you allow and empower a student with an education that works for them, you change the trajectory of their life. My favorite story, my favorite one that demonstrates this more profoundly than any other, years ago, long ago, in a time in our country was not everybody, there wasn't the opportunities you had today. You were either poor or you weren't. And there was a young man that was born and then raised in a family where they had abject poverty, and he grew up in this little house that had a dirt floor, and he did not have educational opportunities. In fact, he was pulled out of school, had an abusive father who derided his attempts to learn, and he did not have the chance to learn. It's just soul-crushing work day in and day out, soul-crushing work, and there's no real opportunity. So he was staring down the barrel of a life of poverty and just kind of like isolation, poverty and isolation. And basically no opportunity for schooling, no opportunity for education, a family of poverty. Tragically, his mother died. Just so many pain points in this guy's life until his father remarried and his stepmother said, hey, you need to learn. And not only that, I'm going to protect your time and your ability to learn, and gave him a number of books and spurred this desire to learn and spurred this passion for education. And little by little, he starts to read, he starts to understand, he starts to learn, he starts to build up his love of education and learning. He goes on to self-educate and become an attorney. He goes on to be elected to Congress. He goes on to be elected president. And of course, you know by now I'm talking about Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president of the United States, who, but for an adult giving him the opportunity to have an education, would never have had the trajectory he had, would never have made the impacts he had, would never have done the things he did, but somebody said, you know what? Learning is important, and I'm going to help this kid learn. That's why educational opportunity is so important. That's why we fight for it so hard. That's why, in addition to all of our other issues, we focus first and foremost on educational opportunity. And it's why, as you all know, we're encouraging Governor Josh Shapiro to opt in to the federal scholarship tax credit program. He's got to. That's another 100,000 kids that will have access to an education that works for them once he opts in. That's what we're up against, okay? But I'm optimistic. Once he opts in, we're gonna have way more kids that have educational opportunity. The fight continues because of each of you. I'm grateful for everything you're doing. I'm grateful for you being here, and I'm a little over time. So I'm gonna get to my panel. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.